Hello, and welcome to another episode of CGN Live. This is episode 13. Trying to get some things going here as everybody joins us. I can't do anything. My internet is messing up here. Hold on. Connected here. You might lose me for a second. There we go. Okay. Am I still muted? No. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is CGN Live. Wow. Okay, sorry about that. I had to get some things going. Technical difficulties, But my name is Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics. We go live weekly on CGN, cheapgraphicnovels.com. That is our hub. We are an online shop that sells comics and graphic novels up to 90% off. Great prices on new comic books, up to 40% off usually for the new stuff. And every Monday evening, we start selling the books that come out for that following week. Every Monday when those go live on social media, Twitter and Instagram, I make a post in our social media. Our Twitter and Instagram are at CheapGN. I'll make a post on there saying the books are live. Go buy your books, and that so that they're available. You know when they're available, but ahead of time though on these weekly shows, which are typically Thursday afternoons, is when we go over the books that are coming out the following week. Also today, I'm going to go over a little bit of the image sale that we have going on here. By the way, if you're in the chat, drop a line, say hello, let me know you're here. But yes, we have a huge, massive, enormous image sale going on right now. We have over 1,400 titles that are 50% off or more. They're at least 50% off. Lots of hardcovers, lots of the expensive big collection books, slipcases and whatnot, all the way down to your cheaper trade paperbacks that you've maybe been wanting to pick up. So we're gonna go over that a little bit. We're not going to cover every single title because 1,400 plus is a lot to go over, but I'll hit some highlights and let you know maybe my recommendations and whatnot. But yeah, so like I said, my name's Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics. I run all the social media for cheap graphic novels. The Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that jazz. And I can answer any of your questions that you have. So if you have any questions related to CGN or comic books in general, drop a line in the chat. I can answer those for you as well. I'm not actually located where the CGN warehouses are, so I can't answer any like very specific to your order questions. If you have if a question like, I ordered such and such book, when's it going to ship out? Anything like that, I can't answer because I'm not actually at the warehouse. But if you want to know if a certain book's in stock or when a certain book comes out, if I would recommend a certain book, those kinds of questions I can certainly answer. But yeah, so we have a couple of things that we want to cover today. Books that come out next Monday and the image sale. So let's hop to that. And while I'm doing this, like I said, say hello in the chat. Drop a line about what comic books you've been reading, and let's have a little bit of a conversation as we do this. And as I'm showing off the books, feel free to answer questions or ask questions, or maybe if I hit a book that you are familiar with, let me know if it's any good or if you'd recommend it. That kind of stuff. Let's get a conversation going. This is the front page. Let me make sure it's. I don't like that view. Let's do this one. There we go. So this is the front page of the website. as you can see, that scrolling banner there. We have the Nick and Dent Live sale or sales live. Always is where we have a little bit of like slightly damaged books for cheaper. Image sale 1,400 plus books, 50% off or more. And then the April pre-order catalog that is still live. So if there's some pre-order books that you want to make sure you guarantee you'll be able to put on your shelf, you want to pre-order it, you can do that as well. If you go to the YouTube channel for CGN where you are now, if you go to the live tab where all of our live shows are, I did a live show covering that entire catalog if you're curious about some more details about those books. And I just want to show quickly too, if you scroll down to the bottom right corner of the front page here, you'll find a spot where it says join our newsletter today. And this is a weekly newsletter we put out, and I'm the one that gets to write it, so it's very exciting. But I put down the top 5 books that are coming out the following week, plus the exclusive Taylor Talks Comics Pick of the Week, where I pick a more under the radar title. I try to pick smaller publishers, at least outside of the big 4, like Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. If those are the big 4, I try to pick something outside of those if there's an exciting title coming out for that week or whatever, for that Taylor Talks Comics pick. And so that's all in the newsletter. So if you subscribe right there, you'll get a confirmation email too. If you don't see the confirmation email, check your spam folder. But then click on the confirmation, you'll get those every week as well. We have a question real fast before we dive into the books. By Nate. Hello, Nate. Thanks for joining us. Do pre-orders get sent out the day they come out? That is the latest they'll get sent out, Nate. A little sneak peek, not sneak peek, a little under the table advice, I guess, or maybe comment. Max likes to start shipping those out right when they come in. So the books sometimes come in like the end of the week before the books come out, and they really start fulfilling and shipping those out for the pre-orders ahead of time. So the latest the pre-orders will get shipped out will typically be that day that the book comes out. But sometimes, a lot of times, maybe they get shipped out a little bit earlier than that. So great question. I think that's probably the fastest way to get your books as well, is to pre-order. Because then as the books coming in, they already know who's going to order them. If you wait till the day that the books come out, we'll get like a mad rush of orders. It might take like throughout that first week to get them shipped out and whatnot. So great question, Nate, though. So unofficially, they might get shipped out a little bit faster. I don't want to guarantee anything or make anything official like that, but I do know from experience they start shipping those out a little bit earlier if they can to get a little bit of a head start. All right, so this is the front page, like I said. We are going to start off with next week's books, and then I'll finish off the episode with some of the Image sale books that I might recommend. So if you click on new releases, we have all of the previous weeks still on here. If you're like, oh man, a couple weeks ago, I didn't have the money yet, but I want to make sure I didn't miss any books, you can click on that kind of thing. We're going to click on next week. Looks like we have 30 books to show off. And real quickly, too, you're going to see, as I show these off, they're all going to say out of stock on them right here on the red spot. That'll go away. On Monday night, whenever I make that post, when Max from CGN sends me the text and tells me when the books can go live, and I make that post on Twitter and Instagram, that'll switch over to add to my cart. They just say out of stock right now because at a certain point, Max shuts off the pre-orders, and then they can't be added to the cart or anything like that until the books are in hand in the warehouse. So up first, we're going to start off with Deadpool and Cable Omnibus hardcover. We have the Mark Brooks cover here for the DM variant. This is yes, this is Mark Brooks, kind of his earlier career stuff. If you're familiar with Mark Brooks' artwork, he's been doing a lot of the covers for the Hoxpox era X-Men. Sorry, I'm trying to reach and get the books out that I can show off for this. The Hoxpox era X-Men, he's been doing a lot of those covers, and you can see this cover looks a lot different than that. So this is like early in his career, but I still kind of like this artwork, especially he does some interiors in this run. But anyways, this is the direct market variant cover. The DM variant or direct market variant, all that means is that it's exclusive to comic book shops. You won't be able to order these covers on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or any sort of bookstores. But you will be able to order them in the direct market, which is just comic book shops. CGN is a comic book shop, so you can buy this there. This is $74.99. You get it for 40% off. And then let's look at the standard cover, which is provided by Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool and Cable, provided this cover. This is the standard edition cover. This is the cover you'll be able to get anywhere. Comic book shops, cheap graphic novels, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those things. We'll have this cover. And this includes the entire run. This includes Cable and Deadpool. The omnibus is confusingly called Deadpool and Cable Omnibus. I guess Marvel is just trying to cash in on the Deadpool name because Deadpool is more popular and well known in the mainstream, if you will, than Cable. But the actual comic book series was called Cable and Deadpool. And this collects the entirety of that 50-issue run, plus the Deadpool GLA Summer Fun Spectacular and Deadpool number 27 from 2012. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. This is a reprint. This omnibus is. This has been previously. It came out a number of years ago, but it's also been collected in 3 of these Ultimate collections. This collects the same material, I believe. Yeah, that has the same Summer Fun Spectacular. Does it have the Deadpool number 12? It does not. So the omnibus actually collects one more issue, it looks like. But this is the way I have it collected, is in these paperbacks. But I just want to show off some of the early artwork. This is what a lot of people call... that was issue number 1, by the way, that cover, the Liefeld cover. A lot of people call their favorite Deadpool run. It's written by Fabian Nicieza, primarily. But the early artwork is by Mark Brooks, which is fun. That it's fun to see Mark Brooks' his interiors, because he only does covers nowadays. Really, I don't know the last time he's done interiors. So you get to see a little bit of that. Is that another Liefeld cover? I can't sell it. It doesn't have a signature on it. But besides Mark Brooks, you have Shane Law, Patrick Zurcher. I don't know what it says. Patch Zurcher. Might be a... was that a pseudonym back then? Patrick Zurcher does the last few issues, or last, I guess, 15 issues in this first volume. But yeah, so it's like a buddy cop comedy with Cable and Deadpool. So a lot of the interactions you see from Cable and Deadpool, you will definitely, that you're maybe familiar with. Oh, here's MODOK. Who doesn't love MODOK? Such a great Jack Kirby creation. A lot of the comedy, like Deadpool being the goofy guy and Cable being the straight man in comedy sense, you'll get here. So it's just a fun buddy comedy. Some people do say it's their favorite of the comedic side of Deadpool. We got one more comment here. Just got home from P.O. Box of my Avengers Acts of Vengeance and Guardians of the Galaxy Epic Collections. Very excited to dive in. Yes, that's awesome. Okay, so both of those are Epic Collections. Okay. Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy one I'm excited about. I have all of the old... They're right here, actually. Like the old Guardians trades that collect that material. But I'm thinking of upgrading, I guess, or sliding over. I guess it's not really an upgrade to those Epic Collections, because I love the Epic Collections. I have over 100 of them. I actually just filmed a little teaser, an unboxing video, because I just got my CGN haul as well. So I filmed an unboxing of that haul, and that'll be going on the channel. I'm thinking this weekend, maybe tomorrow, Saturday, Monday at the latest for sure. It's just gonna be depends on when I can upload it. But I have a bunch of Epic Collections that I got, in as well as an omnibus. So look forward to that. But yes, it's always a great day when you get your CGN haul in, isn't it? So as I go back to sharing my screen again, drop a line of what you've been reading lately, what you've picked up lately, what you're hauling, what you're excited to see come out, any questions you might have, all of that jazz. So let's go back to the main screen here. So those are $74.99 Both covers are 40% off, coming out next Monday on cheapgraphicnovels.com. Fantastic Four by Miller and Hitch Omnibus. We have a Mark Silvestri cover as the direct market variant. You can see here. But this is the Mark Miller / Brian Hitch run. And let me get to the Brian Hitch cover. So this run takes place, let me see. Fantastic Four 554 through 569. Where would that take place? Let me see. What did I say? 564 through. Okay, so perfect. Okay. So this actually takes place leading directly up to the Jonathan Hickman run. So Jonathan Hickman's run starts with 570 of Fantastic Four. So this is the omnibus that predates the Jonathan Hickman omnibus. Exactly. Like it perfectly starts there. And it's written by Mark Miller. Brian Hitch does a lot of the artwork. And this includes Fantastic Four 554 through 569, the annual number 32, and then Fantastic Force 1 through 4, and Marvel 1985 1 through 6, which I believe that Marvel 1985 series was a Mark Miller series that it's not like technically in this continuity of this omnibus, but it was kind of like a kind of padding out the omnibus. They didn't really know where else they would put that or collect that. So I know some people are excited that they kind of padded it out with that. We've got so yeah, like I said, this omnibus directly leads up to the Jonathan Hickman run, and it's going to be $100 cover price. But at CGN next Monday, you can get it for $59.99, which is 40% off. And it looks like it collects about 28 issues of modern era Fantastic Four. We got another comment here. Connor, thank you for joining me. Always look forward to these vids. Thank you. I always look forward to doing them. This is a lot of fun for me. It's kind of one of the highlights of my week, joining everybody. And I do like that our audience is growing. We're starting to get some new faces in here in the chat, which I appreciate. By the way, give the video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. That kind of helps in the YouTube algorithm that you always hear about. Helps suggest our channel a little bit more. And we've got, I think we're getting closer to 200 subscribers, which is really good because we just started this channel like a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And it's been kind of hard in the YouTube algorithm because I pretty much only do live videos, and those don't really do well as far as YouTube suggesting them. We only have one non-live video on the channel, so I am going to do some more of those in the coming weeks to try to hopefully boost that up. But what you could do is give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. Let them know that every week we go live on this channel, Comics. The next book is by DK Publishing. It's Star Wars Timelines hardcover. This has a cover price of $50, but at Cheap Graphic Novels, you can get it for $39.99, a savings of 20%. This is an indispensable companion for all Star Wars fans. This volume displays visual timelines that chronologically map key events, characters, and developments and mark their significance. So this is looks like a cool coffee table book that for Star Wars diehards that would like to kind of make sense of everything, all the timelines and events. I don't know if does this include like all the novels and comics and stuff. Let me see. Passes through details to it doesn't exactly say. I don't know if it's just the movies continuity. The cover there would make me think that it's just movies because those are all movie images. Or maybe not that one, top one. Interesting. If anybody knows the exact details on that, I'd like to know, because it'd be cool if it had collected information about all the novels and comics as well as the movies and kind of pieced it together to make sense. I'm like a completionist when it comes to comics, so I like to put things in order like that. Star Wars, I'm not the biggest, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I like them just as much as the next guy, but I'm not like so much that I'm like obsessively trying to put things in order. But I do like to see kind of how those things fall into place. So that does seem like an interesting book. EC Archives, Tales from the Crypt, Volume 3, hardcover. Okay, wow. I thought at first glance, because I always scroll through the books whenever Max tells me they're posted on the website. before the video to try to get it familiar with what I'm going to talk about. And I assume that this was the new paperbacks that Dark Horse has been publishing. This is one of the hardcovers. So I think what this is collects Tales of the Crypt 29 through 34. Okay, so this what happened here is that Dark Horse has been printing all these hardcovers of Tales of the Crypt, Shark Suspense, Crime and Suspense Stories, Vault of Horror, all the EC comics. They've been printing them all in like chronological order in these hardcovers, but they didn't start with volume 1. They started with like volume 4 or 5 because Gemstone Publishing, I believe, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Gemstone Publishing started the line with volumes like 1 through 4 of a few of these titles, and then Dark Horse just started picking up right from then on. So like volume 5 and on. So I think they're going back and reprinting them, the earlier ones that they didn't print themselves, so that they kind of match up with you on your shelf, or if you maybe missed out on the Gemstone ones. So I think that's what this is, because it is a hardcover. But I love EC Comics. I personally collect them in the Fantagraphics black and white editions that I think I've shown them off on this channel before. If not, I can if you want me to. But these are like the colored collections. So there's just different ways that they're collected. The Fantagraphics ones are collected in black and white, and they're in like artist-centric collections. So you'll have like one volume's Al Feldstein issues, one's Jack Davis, one's Harvey Kurtzman, one's Johnny Craig. What Dark Horse does is collect them in chronological order by issues. So this collects issues of Tales of the Crypt 29 through 34. So it's like 5 issues of how the comics originally were released back in the day in the 50s. And they're in color. So Fantagraphics is black and white. These are in color, but they are recolored, which some EC fanatic diehards kind of don't like that recoloring. They're like modernized recoloring, if you will. But it's different context of reading it. And I like to read it as like one artist's work, which is why I like the Fantagraphics ones. But this is like reading them as they came out as issues, which each issue would have like 3 8-page strips in them. So like you have 24 pages for the comic, and you get 3 different stories in them. And Tales of the Crypt, from the Crypt, as you can imagine, was horror based. EC Comics also had sci-fi, war, and crime as other genres they dabbled in. But yeah, so this is the EC Archives Tales from the Crypt Volume 3 hardcover. Juan has joined us. Thank you, Juan. How you doing, my man? Everyone, let me know. Drop a line. Let me know what you've been reading and that kind of stuff. Up next, we have a manga. This is Girl from the Other Side of, I'm going to butcher this, Seoul, a Run. Deluxe Edition Omnibus, Volume 3 hardcover. This is from Seven Seas Entertainment. The writer and artist is Nagabe. I've never heard of this run. Let me know if you have read it. I would like to know what your thoughts are. Excuse me. In a land far away, there are 2 kingdoms. The outside, where twisted beasts roam that could curse with a touch, and the inside, where humans lived in safety and peace. Sounds a little bit like a horror version of Chronicles of Narnia, if you will. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that'll be $30.09. If you're interested, I can look to see if Volume 1 and 2 are in stock. But Volume 3 will be in stock Monday at Cheap Graphic Novels for $30.09. We have Cosmic Ghost Rider by Donny Cates. Donny Cates trade paperback. I can't talk today. This is, they don't call them complete collections anymore. Marvel's kind of done away with that banner for their thicker trade paperbacks of complete collection. It seems like they're moving towards a modern epic collection line. So there's going to be epic collections and modern epic collections. And eventually, I think that's all we'll see as far as like the thicker trades go. They'll still release the slimmer ones as they're coming out. But we had the Guardians of the Galaxy by Al Ewing come out last week, and that was like a 576 pager. That's in stock right now at Cheap Graphic Novels if you're interested. This is Cosmic Ghost Rider by Donny Cates trade paperback. And this is another thick trade. It includes 5 issues of Thanos, like issues of Donny Cates' Thanos run. So Thanos 13 through 18. And it includes Cosmic Ghost Rider 1 through 5. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 6, which is the Donny Cates run. And the material from Revenge of the Ghost Rider, the Thanos Annual, and then Wolverine Black, White, and Blood number 3, which Donny Cates wrote as well. So this has not been collected in this fashion before. We had a Cosmic Ghost Rider. These were collected in the slimmer trays, of course. But as far as thicker collections of paperback or omnibus, we had the Cosmic Ghost Rider omnibus come out, which collected all of Donny Cates' run that you see with like the Thanos origin story, and then a lot of the runs that came after that Donny Cates didn't write. But this, and then we had the Donny Cates Guardians of the Galaxy OHC, which collected the Guardians of the Galaxy material from here, and the Thanos OHC, which collected the Thanos stuff. We had the Donny Cates Cosmic Marvel Omnibus that collected some of this material, but not all of it. So this is basically all of the Donny Cates written stories about Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is a character that he co-created, and it's a fantastic character. Does it tell you? Okay, well, it tells you right there in the. I was going to say I don't want to spoil who it is, but right there in the description tells you who it was. It's Frank Castle. Is Cosmic Ghost Rider. I guess the cat's out of the bag as far as spoiling it because it's in the solicits now. But it's like a futuristic Frank Castle where he's kind of lost his mind and now he's living in space as a ghost version of Ghost Rider. It's really, really cool idea. It's a fun comic. It's not going to be like a literary work of genius kind of comic, but it's just like a fun comic. I really enjoyed it. I haven't read Donny Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy run where Cosmic Ghost Rider takes a part in that yet. I've only read like the Thanos run and those first 5 issues of Ghost Rider or Cosmic Ghost Rider. So I might have to pick this up because I am picking up I'm picking up the trade paperbacks of Guardians of the Galaxy, so I might need this because I don't have the omnibus. And I kind of like the way this is collected better anyways. So that's an interesting title. But that's going to be $29.99 on Monday. 40% off. We have Thor Epic Collection. Even Immortal Can Die. Is this a reprint? I don't think it is. No, because it would say new printing on it. What volume is this then? Right, let's see, because I have all the Thor Epic collections. Issues 260 through 280. Okay, so War of the Gods came out previous to this, and that includes issues 242 through 259. That's volume 8. So what we're seeing here now, Even an Immortal Can Die, that's volume 9 of the Thor Epic collections, which I believe gives us Thor 1 through 9 in total completion. Maybe. Someone let me know. My Thor Epic collections are kind of like, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 Thor Epic collections, but I also have some omnibuses of like the Silver Age material. So I don't have, I'm collecting it in multiple ways, but I think it's the first 9 volumes of Thor are now an Epic collection. But this has early Walt Simonson work. It's not the famous Walt Simonson run, though. That has not been put in Epic collections yet. I think it's just some earlier issues that Walt Simonson worked on. But like I said, this collects Thor 260 through 280, then annual 6 and 7, and Marvel Preview number 10. You see in this run, he teams up with the Guardians of the Galaxy against Korvac, which I wonder, is that collected in the Guardians run? I feel like I read that before. No? Okay. I guess it's not in there. I don't know. I'll look at that later. That's my own personal curiosity. Either way, I'm picking this up because I'm picking up all the Thor Epic collections that will not be in omnibuses. But yeah, this is earlier Thor work from like 1978 through 79, I believe. So late 70s Thor content. Lynn Wein is the writer on it. Even an Immortal Can Die. That'll be $29.99 next Monday on Cheap Graphic Novels for 40% off. Then we have a manga that I really want to read this. This is by Shigeru Mizuki. And this is printed by Drawn and Quarterly. I believe Shigeru Mizuki, he did Kitaro. Kitaro, which is, I think I talked about this in an earlier episode, but it's an all ages horror manga. Which is like a totally different subject matter, as you can imagine, than Hitler here. But it also does a Showa, a history of Japan manga, and that's all been collected by John and Quarterly, the Kitaro stuff and Showa. and this is a new printing. This is a reprint, but this is. So let me read the synopsis here. 70 years after his death, Adolf Hitler remains a mystery. With Shigeru Mizuki's Hitler, the mangaka delves deep into the history books to create an absorbing and eloquent portrait of Hitler's life, beginning with Hitler's time in Austria as a starving student and ending with Germany in ruins. So, and Shigeru Mizuki, his artwork and the way he tells stories, especially when it's like historical stuff like this, if you've read the Showa stuff, you'll know this. It's just like such a gripping way to tell stories. He's really, really good. But I haven't read this one, and I do want to read this. This will be $23.96. It's 20% off, and like I said, it's published by Drawn and Quarterly. We have Judge Dredd, The Complete Case Files, Volume 41. They have been pumping this out. This is Rebellion 2000 AD. We have some comments. Thor has volumes 1 through 9, 11, 12, and then 16 through 23. Thank you. Okay, so perfect. Thank you, Sandwiches. So as far as the Thor Epic Collections go, so number 9 will come out next week. So that'll be 1 through 9, and then 11, 12. So there'll be that gap there of volume 10. Because like I've talked about before, the Epic Collections aren't always released in chronological order. And then 13, 14, and 15 there will be the Walt Simonson run. So after next week, when that volume 9 comes out, we just have volume 10 to come out, and then the Walt Simonson run, and we'll have like all Thor in Epic Collection, which is pretty exciting. They've kind of saved the Walt Simonson run for last because that's been printed in a number of different formats. The Omnibus has come out. They used to have classics back in the day and trade paperback. So they're saving that for last, which is, I can't wait to get that in Epic Collection. I hope they use the original coloring personally. So I bet the next Thor Epic Collection that comes out will probably be volume 10, and then they'll do 13, 14, 15. Would be my guess. Today is Hitler's birthday. That is true. 420 is Hitler's birthday, unfortunately. We don't need to celebrate that, but it is coincidental to what I'm talking about with Shigeru Mizuki's Hitler manga. Now we have Judge Dredd, Complete Case Files, Volume 41, like I said. I can't believe they pumped out so many of these, but the fact that the Judge Dredd has that much comics content is amazing for a character that hasn't quite hit mainstream enough in America. I feel like that enough by what would I feel like should be warranted for such a great character that has such a deep, diehard following in Europe because the 2001 AD Prague magazines that have come out. But this has work in here by John Wagner and artwork by Kev Walker, Kim Kennedy, Carlos Esquerra, and that's it. Okay. So Carlos Esquerra, and John Wagner are the two people that created Judge Dredd. So it seems like they come back to the character for this material. And then Kev Walker and Kim Kennedy. I don't know that they've drawn previous Judge strips before this, but both great artists in their own right. We have Queen in Comics hardcover. This is put out by NBM. Excuse me. The writer is Emmanuel Marie, and the artist is Sophie Blitman. And this is obviously referring to Queen, the great rock band, with Freddie Mercury there on the cover, looking as dazzling as ever. That's a great cover. But this has Brian May, Roger Taylor, Freddie Mercury form one of the greatest rock bands in the world. Under the leadership of its charismatic singer, Queen is a planetary success for each hit, with its decadent shows, inimitable aesthetics, and style. So this is discover the great stories and little secrets surrounding the legend. So this is about the band Queen. I love a lot of music biography comics like this, like the Fifth Beatles, one of my favorite comics like that. It talks about the what's his name, Brian Epstein, right? Brian Epstein. He's like the fifth Beatle, quote unquote, because he's the one that kind of helped guide them and put them in new markets and that kind of thing. Really helped the Beatles rise to prominence. And then also I'm thinking of like the David Bowie comic that Mike Allred did was amazing. Mike Allred was like the perfect artist for a David Bowie comic. I know there's been some other ones. Like I know there's been some about the Doors. There's been a lot of comics about the Beatles, but this is Queen. I don't know there's been any other Queen comics, but I'm curious about this and if it'll be good because I like these when they're I like when comics, because of the medium and what they can do, kind of take these legendary musical figures and kind of like make them into like kind of a superhero esque character, kind of put them on a pedestal, if you will. I don't need a direct like this is when Freddie Mercury was born and this is what he's like as a child. I don't need that kind of biography when I'm reading a comic book. I want like kind of like I want the good stuff, you know, like the dazzling aesthetics and the fun stories. So I'm curious how that will be played out. We have another release by 2000 AD. This is Strodium Dog, Search and Destroy Volume 2. This is written by John Wagner and Alan Grant. Who is the artist on this? It does not say. All right. But, well, okay. It says, in the Schlick Gruber grab, in which mutant bounty hunter Johnny Alpha and his partner travel to the past to capture Hitler. So unfortunately, there's another Hitler reference today. It's just that kind of day. But this is kind of, I know Strodium Dog, I've not read his comics, but I do know and I'm familiar enough that this kind of predates Judge Dredd. Like I think this character was created before Judge Dredd, and you can see on the cover there's a lot of similarities there. And then I believe they still continued Strodium Dog even after Judge Dredd. But 2000 AD, like it was an anthology comic that came out. They had like the sci-fi adventures. What were those called? The Future Shocks. Those came out, and those were like sci-fi kind of EC comic strips where like every story was kind of different. And then they had ongoing things with like Judge Dredd, Strodium Dog, Slain was a 2000 AD property too. That came out. So like an anthology, but all the characters and stuff kind of existed in their own universes, if you will. Sometimes there'd be crossovers, but not entirely. But this is Strodium Dog. This is volume 2, and it's a hardcover. Which hardcovers from 2000 AD usually go out of print pretty quickly. They keep their paperbacks in stock and in print more frequently. So if you're wanting the hardcover of this, I wouldn't hesitate too much. But this will be $20.99, 25% off, which is the same deal for the Queen book. I don't know if I mentioned that. That is also $20.99, 25% off. Both of those will be available next Monday on cheapgraphicnovels.com. Next, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Best of TMNT Collection, Volume 3, trade paperback. These are like thick collections. If you've seen the cover there, these were released in single issues first, and they're like thick single issues. I think they're like 80 pagers, and they like had covers that look like that cover there, but it like had one figure on it, and it was like that minimalist art style for the cover. Like they have a Baxter Stockman issue, they had a Shredder issue, and all that stuff. So this is now collecting those single issues, I believe. So it's like a best of greatest hits kind of thing. This will be $20.99, 30% off. Like I said, these are thick. I think they're like 400 pager trade paperbacks. So if you're just wanting like just the best of the best TMNT stories, maybe go this route. And if you're curious, I can see if volume 1 and 2 are in stock still, if we have those. But this collects stories from every era. So it's got the original Mirage series, and then it's got TMNT Adventures, which is like the Archie series, Tales of the TMNT, and then also all the way up to IDW's current ongoing series. If you're wanting to dabble in some TMNT comics, that's maybe the route to go. Up next, oh, sorry. Did I say that was $20.99, 30% off? Kettle Harbor. This is by Conundrum Press. The writer and artist is Kyle Vingo Cram. Looks to be an OGN. In this debut graphic novel from Nova Scotia, cartoonist Kyle Vingo Cram. A woman visits her estranged cousin in a town on the muddy banks of the Fundy Coast, a magical place where they spent summers as a child. Once tied at the hip, the two cousins, Andrea and Brendan, awkwardly reconnect over nostalgic hiking trips and retro video games. This looks to be a slice of life, coming of age, or maybe the opposite of coming of age, maybe more of a nostalgic look on life, if you will. That's Kettle Harbor. That'll be $19.99. 20% off. Up next, we have The Last Count of Monte Cristo hardcover by Abrams Comic Arts. The artist is David Roach. The Last Count of Monte Cristo is a bold retelling of Alexandre Dumas's classic tale of love, betrayal, revenge, and redemption. This speculative update pushes the narrative into a future hundreds of years after the polar ice caps have melted and submerged our planet into a new era of technology and culture. In this Afro-futuristic reinterpretation, they revisit original inspiration of Count of Monte Cristo. So this is like taking the Count of Monte Cristo and pushing it into a futuristic comic book, which is an interesting concept. I love the Count of Monte Cristo story. I've only ever seen the movies. I've never read the book. But I love the story. So that futuristic take is kind of intriguing. That's a hardcover, and it's $19.99. It'll be 20% off. Sap Hunters. This is by Humanoids. The writer is Laurent Guinfort, and the artist is Alexandre Ristorcelli. I'm probably butchering that. Through the branches of the gigantic world tree, Pierig searches for the source of the malevolence that poisons the sap. The colossal branches of the world tree are home to many diverse clans of people, each living among their tier. On Pierig, a sap diviner is captured by the bellicose clan for his rare skills. He learns that the world tree is dying, and its nourishing sap, the fuel for each of these communities, is being poisoned. So it sounds like a fantasy story that maybe has some social commentary in there about our reliance on fuel. I don't know, but it does sound interesting. And Humanoids puts out some great books. That's a hardcover. It's $19.99. Then we have Hawk the Slayer, Wart for Me in Night. This is by Rebellion Tales in AD. The writer is Garth Ennis, and the artist is Henry Flint. This is the graphic novel sequel to the classic fantasy movie. Okay, I'm not familiar with that movie. If you're familiar with the movie in the chat, let me know. Connor, I know you're a cinephile. Have you seen this movie? Let me know. But it's written by Garth Ennis, drawn by Henry Flint. Years after the defeat of Volton, Hawk is still wary of the return of the Black Wizards, and so the Table of Five gathers once more. Hawk, Gort, Crow, and the Witch are joined by Bella, a young bard called Wayne, who wishes to turn their adventure into a new saga. The story of the cult classic film returns, or continues, in this comic book sequel. Interesting. So if you're familiar with that movie, let me know. But that's a sequel to it, and it's a trade paperback. It'll be $19.20. We have The Authority, trade paperback, volume 1. This is a pretty big deal because this has been like flying off the shelves, going out of print since James Gunn announced that he's doing an Authority adaptation. I can't remember. Is it a movie or a TV series? Let me know in the chat. I can't remember which one it is. But either way, it is going to be adapted. And this collects the Warren Ellis section of The Authority. Artist is Brian Hitch, the aforementioned Brian Hitch, Paul Neary, and John Cassaday. This collects Authority 1 through 12 and the Planetary The Authority Ruling the World crossover. The omnibus for The Authority, let me see if I can snatch it out of here off the shelf, collects all the way through issues 1 through 29, and then another series 1 through 5 after that. So it's like 34 issues. So I'm guessing there'll be 3 volumes of these thicker trade paperbacks like this one. Because this has been previously released in trade paperback, omnibus, oversized hardcovers, absolutes, a number of different formats. But this is like a new printing version of the trade paperback. And this has all the Warren Ellis written stuff because eventually Mark Miller takes over after that. So this is going to be $17.99, savings of 40% off. And it does collect about 14 issues in it. Oh, we have a birthday today. Thank you, Lohit. Happy birthday to Sandwichism. Oh, Sandwichism. Happy birthday. I didn't realize it's your birthday too. You're talking about other people's birthdays on here. How dare you not let us know that it's your birthday? Up next, we have Blab. This is an interesting release. I'm really excited for this. This is from Dark Horse, and it's an anthology. So the cover, first of all, is like striking. It it just looks weird, and I love weird comics. But it's an anthology that collects a number of different things. It's a Harvey Award winning anthology of cutting edge comics, art, and culture. So if it's a Harvey Award winning, I'm guessing this is a reprint, but I don't think the original one was printed by Dark Horse. But we have Noah Van Sciver in here. Noah Van Sciver is a cartoonist that I'm a huge fan of. Actually, on his own personal website, he's got a couple mini comics I just bought that are coming in the mail hopefully soon. Because I'll read anything that he does, which is why I'm going to pick this up for sure, because he's featured in it. But Noah Van Sciver depicts the tragic demise of Crime Does Not Pay editor Robert Wood. That's an interesting story. Ryan Heschke recounts the rise and fall of Superman creators Siegel and Schuster. And then we have Sasha Velour portrays the making of the film director F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu. Okay, that'll be interesting. Children's book illustrator Giselle Potter examines Peter Rabbit. And author Beatrix Potter. And then, yeah, so it's just an anthology of a bunch of different stuff. It won a Harvey Award, so that makes it worth it, right? This will be 30% off. You can get it for $17.47 on Graphic Novels next Monday. And it says volume 1, so there should be future volumes, I would believe. Oh, we got Juan in here. I'm interested in the Blab release. I've been digging anthologies lately. I love comic book anthologies because it's always my method whenever I find these to have my phone next to my book, my anthology. And as I read through it, I follow the artists and cartoonists that pop up on Instagram or Twitter or what have you, so I can follow the work, the ones that I really dig. Some of my favorite anthologies right now, like I love the Now anthology from Fantagraphics. That just had a volume 12 come out, I believe. And then some of the past ones, like I love Mome was an earlier one that Fantagraphics did. The Best American Comics anthologies, I love those as well. Yeah, I could do a whole episode on comic book anthologies that I love. So yeah, Blab is another one that you can get into as well, if you're into that kind of thing. Up next, we have the Black Cat Social Club from Humanoids, another Humanoids release. The writer is Christopher Painter. The artist is Bob Quinn. Pop Punk Apocalypse. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. This might be right up my alley. I grew up as a punk rock emo kid, so and I'm still a punk rock kid at heart. The story of three punk rock witches, Alice, Hazel, and Maggie, who cast spells with their songs to battle corporate demon jerks, defeat rival witch bands, save the world, and get to the next gig. Black Cat Social Club have been at this band thing for quite a while with limited success. Bummer. Despite their kick-ass punk rock skills and a little song-casting magic, these witchy women have been struggling to reach their big break. That sounds like so much up my alley. I didn't even know about this. It's a Humanoids book, which they've always put out good books. It's a trade paperback. I'm gonna have to pick that up. Punk rock witches, it seems super weird. That seems like so much up my alley that I have to get that. Black Cat Social Club, punk rock, pop punk apocalypse. Christopher Painter and Bob Quinn and Humanoids. So this will be $15.99 next week, 20% off. I'm gonna have to add that to my list. That looks amazing. Duo hardcover. This is from DC Comics. Writer is Greg Pak. Artist is Koi Pham. Nanotech engineers Kelly Vu and David Kim are committed to only one thing more than each other: using their regenerative nanobots to save the world. This includes Duo 1 through 6. That is a hardcover. It's a standard size hardcover for $14.99. We have 3 Keys trade paperback. This is from Image Comics. The writer and artist is David Messina. It'll be $13.99 next Monday and includes 3 Keys 1 through 5. Did the inhabitants of another dimension flee into our reality to save themselves from the terrible wrath of the great old Oneser to help prepare us for the final devastating invasion? All right. Oh, wait, hold on. All questions are asked and answered in Han Solo artist David Messina's epic apocalyptic tale that's Calvin and Hobbes beats Lovecraft. Okay, Calvin and Hobbes beats Lovecraft if Calvin was an opinionated comic shop employee and Hobbes was an extra-dimensional warrior, and Lovecraftian creatures attacked an unsuspecting modern-day New York City. Okay. I can see the Calvin and Hobbes homage there in her shirt, the striped black and red shirt. So it's Calvin and Hobbes meets Lovecraft if Calvin was an opinionated comic shop employee and Hobbes was an extra-dimensional warrior. And then we had Lovecraftian creatures attacking New York. I love that elevator pitch. At first, I have to admit that first sentence there is like dimension fleeing, attacking. I was like, it's kind of generic, but then you get to the bottom with the elevator pitch. Why didn't they just start off with that? Calvin and Hobbes meets Lovecraft. That's more my thing. That has me interested. So that's 3 keys, $13.99. I'm going to add that on my list too to put on my radar. Oh, we have another comment here from Lowhit. I've heard a good thing about Duo. Guy and girl, they can basically change into each other or something. Okay. Lowhit, I know you keep up with the weekly titles. I'm assuming you haven't read it then yourself. I would be curious if anybody has read that. This is Vampire Slayer Volume 2. This is from Boom Entertainment. I believe this is a Buffy. Yes, this is Willowverse continues as Buffy still struggles with her powerless predicament. This collects Vampire Slayer 5 through 8. The Boom Entertainment Boom Studios has the Buffy license. This is another title within that realm. I guess this is a $12.74, 25% off. You get that next week. A Booster Gold Volume 1, 52 pickup. This is it 52 era? Yeah, it's got to be 52 era. Okay, because it's Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns on writing, Dan Jurgens on artwork. Booster Gold is back in the softcover volume, collecting Booster Gold 1 through 6. All right, so it collects those first 6 issues of the 52 era of Booster Gold. Exterminators, trade paperback. This is the Hoxpox era, or post-Hoxpox era, if you will, of Exterminators. So this is the one that's written by Leah Williams, which has been getting a lot of like social media buzz. I keep seeing people share a lot of images from this run. In the artwork by Carlos Gomez seems to be really exciting, but it includes, so it's Enter the Grindhouse of X, which already tells you, like, I think Grindhouse films. It's Jubilee, Boom Boom, and Dazzler teaming up. So they're out on a town to console her after her nasty breakup. Okay, so Jubilee and Boom Boom take Dazzler out on town after her nasty breakup. But then they get into trouble, and these are the X-women. You also see Laura Kinney, the Wolverine, as a fourth one. So these are all the 4 women teaming up. And Leah Williams is writing. It includes Exterminators 1 through 5. That's because I haven't kept up with a lot of the post Hoxpox stuff. But that's a run, like I said, because it keeps popping up on social media that I want to read because it sounds a lot of fun. And Leah Williams, just based on her social media and things that she's shared, it just seems like one of those writers that like has totally immersed herself into this story and kind of gets to do her own thing, which can always make for some magical comics, if you will. But that trade paperback will be $10.79. That's 40% off. Avengers, All Out Avengers Teachable Moments. I believe this is Derek Landy with Greg Land on art. I think this is a newer series, though. That includes All Out Avengers 1 through 5 and material from Free Comic Book Day 2022 Spider-Man Venom. That'll also be $10.79. Midnight Suns. I know for sure this is a new series. This is a thinner trade paperback. The writer is Ethan Sachs, and Luigi Zagaria is the artist. And it's Midnight Suns, not SUNS, not to be confused with SONS, Midnight Suns from the 90s. So it's a new take on it. And it has a Strange Academy student in it. So it's kind of a same sect of the Marvel Universe that made up the Midnight Suns of the 90s. So you have like Wolverine, Blade, Ghost Rider, those kind of characters teaming up. Then we have Strange, Volume 2, Doctor Strange of Death by Jed McKay and Lee Garbett. This is after the, what's it called? The Death of Doctor Strange series. So there's a new Doctor Strange, if you will. You can see on the cover there. And this is Volume 2, collecting Strange, 6 through 10. Not Doctor Strange. She's not earned her doctorate yet, apparently. $9.59 though, will be 40% off. And then last but not least, we have Year Zero, Volume 0, trade paperback from AWA. Daniel Kraus is the writer, and the artists are Goran Sudzuka and Miroslav Merva. This action-packed prelude to the hit series, acclaimed horror writer Daniel Kraus unveils 4 globe-spanning tales from the earliest days of the zombie apocalypse. All right. That's only $7.49. Be 25% off. You're into that. I know AWA has been putting out a lot of kind of cult classic or cult hit comics that people have been digging into. All right, let's see some comments here. No, I skipped duo and singles because it seemed more like an image trade. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to wait for collected editions, which is where CGN comes in. I want the Booster Gold, Blue and Gold out of print trade, which new 52 era trade 2. So saying trade 1 makes me very hopeful. Oh, okay. So like you're hoping for volume 2. Exterminators are more like Teenage Girls Party Book. It's still fun though. Yeah, I mean, Teenage Girls Party Book mixed with Grindhouse. Like that sounds interesting to me. I could get into that. Midnight Suns was a game tie-in book. Kind of okay. Oh, yeah, that's right, because the Midnight Suns video game came out. Jed McKay, Strange is tight. Clea Strange is very good. I know Low Hit, you too. I've talked to you off air, and you're a big fan of Jed McKay's Moon Knight run as well. So, and I think Jed McKay has taken over the Avengers after Jason Aaron. So I think you're pretty excited about that as well. So that's it for next week's releases. The show's not over though. Hang with me because I want to go over some image sale. The image sale. I'm going to put out while I was on air here. Max sent me out a text to put out an email blast for the image sale, which I will. But I did want to cover a few things. I think it was Juan, if he's still with us, asked, yes, finally an Avengers book I can read by Jed McKay. I think it was Juan on social media hit us up and asked us to cover some of the maybe recommendations from the image sale. So I'm going to do that real fast. I guess I can go back to sharing my screen. So we have over 1,400 books on sale, at least 50% off. And they're all Image Comics titles. I'm not going to go over all 1,400 books, please, because I would probably lose my voice and whatnot. But I want to hit some highlights, especially the hardcovers and stuff, because this is a great sale like this. Because normally Image Comics we have, I think they're like 30% off typically when they're new. So this is like an extra 20% off. So this is a great time to fill in some gaps of your collection, or maybe pick up some of these more expensive hardcovers that you've been holding out on. Up first, though, 100% from Paul Pope. That is a great comic, and that is a thick trade paperback you get for $12.50. I love that comic. Like Paul Pope, he writes and draws it. His art style is so like speaks to my soul. Like I love his artwork. It was so influential in the early 2000s to a number of different artists. It collects all 5 issues, but they're like thicker issues. I believe this is like a 200-pager trade paperback, if I remember correctly. But it's like, okay, so it's okay. So this is, sorry, I was reading the description there. It says follow up to Heavy Liquid, but you don't have to have read Heavy Liquid to. They're not like, they don't rely on each other. This is just like his follow up in terms of comics. But it's newly remastered in a gallery of wraparound covers, unseen sketches. Trying to read the blurb here. Blending the worlds of sex work, MMA fighting, and urban menace. 100% asks, is it possible to find love, safety, and hope in this dystopian American megalopolis? It's just a fantastic work with like such great written characters. It is in black and white, but Paul Pope's one of the great black and white comic artists, where, you know, he has very distinct characters and the way they look and that kind of thing. Oh, here we go. Woohoo! The image seal looks awesome. Yes, one. I believe it was you that asked for this. Asked me to cover some highlights here. So that's 100%. That's my first recommendation. Then we're going to go through, and I'm going to price this high to low because these are where you get a lot of the higher priced ones for 50% off. So we have in stock Walking Dead Omnibus, volume 6 and 7. And these are signed editions. In the Omnibus for The Walking Dead, don't be confused with Marvel or DC omnibuses. These are slipcases, and they're hardcovers. These are like the size. They're basically like your DC Absolute editions because they're like that same trim size as an Absolute, and it's in a slipcase. So don't be deterred by the omnibus title there. But these are only $75, and these are signed editions. You can also get the Saga box set for $62.50. Saga, I believe, in my personal opinion, is the best Image comic book ever. This is my personal opinion. And we have it in a number of different formats in the sale. We have basically all of our Image titles, not all of them, not 100% of them, but most every of our Image titles are a part of the sale. But this is the box set that collects every trade paperback of the first half of the series. So Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, they did like, it doesn't say the issues. I think it's 54 issues. The first 54 issues of Saga, and then they took a big break, and they just recently returned at the end of last year. They took like 2 years off, I think. But this includes all 9 trade paperbacks that'll set you up with that first half. And it includes cover prints that are exclusive to this box set. It's only $62.50. You get 54 issues of comics and a great comic book. I absolutely love Saga. Invincible Complete Library Volume 3 and Volume 2. This is a big deal because just recently announced, Robert Kirkman said that they're going to print. So these are library editions, which it's very confusing how they title these things. But I believe, and someone correct me, but I believe these are the same trim size as the Walking Dead Omnibus, which is, like I said, absolute sized. But they only did 3 volumes, which collects not the entire series, obviously. This only collects up to issues through 70, which I think this series ran 150 some issues. It's like the first half of the series. But they stopped with the Library Edition Volume 3. And then if you wanted to continue, you had to either get trade paperbacks or the oversized hardcovers. Robert Kirkman said they're going to reprint these and then issue the rest of the series in this format. So don't let that deter you from getting these. But these are $62.50 as well. And then we also have the recently released Invincible Compendium hardcover for $50. So that's a savings of 50% off. That is standard sized, but this collects, there's 3 volumes. So only 3 volumes of this will be needed to include the entire run of Invincible. This collects issues 0 through 47. And it's a hardcover. It is standard sized, though, like I said. And the volume 2 of the hardcover compendiums is coming out later this year. We have some Spawn slipcases, Walking Dead omnibuses that are not signed. We have volumes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. Do we have all of them? 3, 2. Okay, so every single Walking Dead omnibus slipcase hardcover we have on sale for $50 each. So if you want like the 2 signed ones for volume 6 and 7, you can get that for $75, or you just get all of them for $50 a piece. So if you're a huge Walking Dead fan, all the Spawn Origins that just came out just got reprinted in those slipcases. Those are all $50 a piece. Like I said, I'm not going to cover everything. We're just going to hit some highlights here. The Invincible paperback compendiums. So basically, we have Invincible in almost every format here. The paperback compendiums collect the same material as the hardcover compendium, also standard size. So they collect like 48 issues a piece. And there's 3 volumes that will collect the entirety of the series. We have all 3 paperback compendiums for $32.50. And they're like fat, thick, like 800-page trade paperbacks. That's like one of the big formats that Image likes to do. So if you're into the Invincible cartoon, maybe on Amazon, or you want to try out the series, there's a number of different ways you can try it out for 50% off these books. Great time to do it. The Black Science compendium that just got released a couple weeks ago, get that for $30. That includes the entirety of the series. Spawn Compendium 1 through 4. We have all 4 volumes of that for $30 a piece. 7 to Eternity. Just recently reprinted. Rick Remender, Jerome Pena, oversized hardcover. It's like the Remender size deluxe edition. That's only $30. That is a one and done volume. It collects the entirety of the series. Saga Compendium. So every issue that's included in the box that I previously talked about, you can get in this one compendium trade paperback volume, all in one, no box set or anything. But you get that for $30 if you just want to. That's probably the cheapest, most affordable way to try out the first half of Saga. Is in this compendium there. Stray Bullets. Okay, let me stop there. This is an Uber Alles edition. It's basically a compendium because it includes 41 issues in one thick trade paperback. David Lapham's series Stray Bullets is one of the greatest crime comics ever written, ever done. I absolutely love this series. I can't recommend this enough. If you're a big fan of like Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips crime comics, or you're a big fan of like even like the EC era crime comics by Johnny Craig, David Rucka crime comics of modern era, those kinds of things, then you have to, and you haven't tried out Stray Bullets. I can't recommend this series enough. It is seriously one of the pinnacles of crime comics to me, one of the peaks, and that's Stray Bullets. That includes the entirety of the initial Stray Bullets series. That's only $30. Cyber Force, if you want some Mark Silvestri 90s era comics. Firepower, if you're already on your Robert Kirkman kick with Invincible and Walking Dead, there's his new series. Deadly Class, another Rick Remender-sized, oversized hardcover, $25. I believe we have all 3 volumes of that. And volume 4 completes the series, and that comes out later this year. Paper Girls. That with the comic book series is great. I didn't watch the Amazon series, but I heard it wasn't as good. The comic book series is great though, and that's a compendium that has the entirety of the sorority in one volume. That's $25. And let me go through a few more here. Gideon Falls hardcovers, we have both of those here for 50% off. That includes the entirety of the series for both of those volumes. Criminal. So Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, the aforementioned, all 3 volumes of their hardcover deluxe editions are here. They're $25 a piece, so you can get the entirety of the series for $75. Same with Saga. So Saga, I showed the trade paperback box set, and I showed the compendium. Those are both standard size. If you want to see Fiona Staples' great artwork and oversized quality, they released 3 oversized deluxe edition hardcovers that include the entirety of that first half of the series. They're $25 a piece. We have all of those volumes here as well. There's another Deadly Class. Saga, Velvet, Odyssey, Fatale. Ice Cream Man. That came out last Halloween. That's a horror anthology. It's a horror anthology where not all those stories tie in except for the fact that of the central character of Ice Cream Man. It's a horror comic that's it's one of the better modern horror comics in my opinion. That'll be $22.50 for this. Volume 2 comes out later this fall to continue that series. Sex Criminals by Chip Zdarsky and Matt Fraction. We have those hardcovers here. Savage Dragon, which is what I think is the best of the Image Founding Fathers series. Like you think of like Spawn, Cyberforce, Savage Dragon, Youngblood, those early Image series. Savage Dragon is my favorite, and I think it holds up the best of all those. It's Eric Larson's series, has a lot of like Jack Kirby influences in it, but it's like a violent 90s era comic book that, and the character like ages in real time too. So it's still being written today. I think Eric Larson, I think it's in like the issues 260-ish. So it's still going today. But the character ages in real time. So like even like through the years, it ages as the series goes on. Copra Master Collection. I love Copra. This is Michel Fife's series. He's getting closer to issue 50, but this collects the first, I think, 12 issues. The first 12 issues are here. And this is way oversized too. I think it's the same size as like a Remender Deluxe Edition. And this is Michel Fife's love letter to John Ostrander's Suicide Squad, with a lot of like Steve Ditko influences in there as well. I love this series. I think it's so fun, and Michelle Fife's artwork is so different looking and cool as well. That's only $20. It's a great deal for a great comic. Can't recommend that one enough. Pulp Process Edition. So Pulp was previously released in it's like a standard size slim hardcover from Brubaker Phillips. This though is like, I've heard people describe this as like a how to make comics the Brubaker and Phillips way. It's like there's like the classic comic or a classic book, how to make comics the whole way, that came out in like the 70s, I think. Told you how to write and draw Marvel comics. This is like a total process edition of Pulp, but it shows you all the behind the scenes of how Brubaker writes his comics and how Phillips storyboards them and thumbnails them and does them like from like beginning to end. And it is oversized as well. That's $20. So it's a cool book. Luther Strode complete series trade paperback. That's basically a compendium. It's a thick trade paperback. Luther Strode is a great, fun horror series of a teenage nerd getting like superpowers, basically like super strength, and it's bloody and violent, but in like a fun, over the top kind of way. That's a fun series as well. I'd recommend that one. Try not to hit every single one of these. Tokyo Ghost, that was recently reprinted. Again, Remender oversized edition, $20. That's a great series too for that price. That's just ridiculously insane. All these prices are crazy. The fact they get these for 50% off is crazy to me. I'm trying to see if there's any more big ones that I want to hit. It looks like all the Invincible OHCs are here as well. Astro City, I've talked about that series. That's like Kurt Busiek and what's the writer's name? Brent Anderson. Their series of like basically their interpretation of superheroes. It's like a reconstructionist superhero comic. They've been releasing these thick Metro book paperbacks. All 3 volumes are here for $17.50 a piece. The Paper Girls Deluxe editions are here. I Hate Fairyland, a fun over-the-top series by Scotty Young. I'm trying to scroll through here. Are there any questions that anybody has of any Image comics that I can answer for you, I guess? Because like I said, I don't want to go through all 1,400 of these. But Scud, maybe I'll end with this one. Scud the Disposable Assassin. This is an awesome comic book. Do I have this handy that I can snag real fast? I wonder if I have this book in my reach. I know I have it. I just don't know where it is. Dang, I don't know where it is. We can see the cover there. Scud, though, is a great series. It's called The Disposable Assassin. So basically, the concept is by Rob Schrab. He does all the artwork and writing. He has some co-writers that he credits, but it's mostly written by him. But the idea is that you can, if you need somebody to be killed for you, you can go to a vending machine and put in some money and label your target. And that robot has to go kill that target, and then instantly the robot implodes afterwards. Well, Scud here, as he's going to kill his target, like he's like halfway through killing the target, he's like shooting his limbs off and stuff. It's crazy. It's like a monster. It's not like a real person. He looks in the mirror and sees on his back it says like robot will implode after killing its victim or whatever. So he sees that and he's like, oh, I don't want to die. So then he has to keep that person alive that he's supposed to kill. So he like goes and hides that person, keeps him alive, and then he just goes on this like adventure after that of trying to stay alive. And everyone's like, how is this robot still around? It's supposed to implode after that. It's like a fun, like crazy series that, like, again, I'm into weird comics. I think that one is a fun series to try out. You can get that for $17.50. That's a thick trade too. Includes all 24 issues of Scud. If you want to try out, it's black and white, but it's like just a fun, wacky series about a robot going around. And it's like heartfelt too. Like Rob Schrab talks about he was going through like a horrible like heartbreak at the time, and he like a lot of that kind of seeped into the writing as well. So that's another one I'd recommend. Juan, thanks for the recommendation on Stray Bullets. Might have to get that. That's yes, I love Stray Bullets. It's such an easy read too. Like David Lapham does like an 8-panel grid, which is interesting because normally you think of like 9 or 6 or 3-tiered grids, but he does like a 9-panel. But it like the storytelling is so fluid throughout, and the issues are kind of out of order, so it's kind of like Quentin Tarantino-esque, if you will, like Pulp Fiction, where like the scenes are out of order, but eventually you kind of piece them together. But this characters and stuff are so unique, and you like you want to see each character in Stray Bullets, and you want to see their journey throughout. Or if you find out the demise of a character, and then they show you like the beginning and lead up to that, like it's such a great crime story. So I recommend that. Yeah, Stray Bullets for sure. But we're gonna end there. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Give the video a thumbs up on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of the live shows. I am going to be posting some non-live videos here shortly. Like I said, I have my unboxing. I just got my CGN haul in today, and I filmed it right before I did this, actually. It's already filmed and ready to go. I just need to upload it. But I'll be uploading that in a couple days probably. So you can see what I buy from CGN as well. So I'm a customer just like you guys. So that'll be coming up. And then I also want to do some other non-live videos too about some cool features we have on the website and I don't know, some other stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Follow us on social media at CheapGN on Twitter and Instagram. Search Facebook for Cheap Graphic Novels so you don't miss us there. We have a weekly show that we do live, which is this one. And we have a weekly newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to that. If you want to subscribe, go to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page, and there's a way to subscribe to that newsletter as well. The image sale goes on through this weekend. So if you're wanting to get any of those image comics, you have until through this weekend to get those 50% off for 1,400 plus books. And then, so then the comics that we talked about today as well will be on sale next Monday. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll see you guys next time.